Steven Gerrard, he wins the man of the match for this performance. He was unbelievable. But then after the game said, I can't leave now. You know, I can't leave Liverpool now. Imagine they hadn't won. It'd been one of the great what-ifs of football.
Yeah, it would have. And would we be looking at the Jurgen Klopp era after that if Steven Gerrard hadn't led what he led up to that point? Would we have seen another sea change of Liverpool like we saw, from the 80s into the 90s and then flipped back the other way from the 90s to the turn of the century? It is a sliding doors moment because he missed the Liverpool. Let's not forget Carragher in this as well because, Carragher played a huge role in that final and was, again, but for Gerrard, sort of, maybe deputy Mr. Liverpool, if you like to put it that way. But the team was revolved around him for so long and he was such a pivotal player for that long. And look, the whole Lampard-Gerrard debate that will go on and on. The difference between the two is that Gerrard was the central cog in this Liverpool team, whereas Lampard was a brilliant player, but he wasn't what the team revolved around from a tactical perspective, and Gerrard was. So yeah, if they look at it that way, they can thank their lucky stars for a second time that it worked out the way it did.
But imagine it didn't. Would Gerrard have left Liverpool?
Possibly. I guess I don't ever really believe he would have left because I think if you get so close and you don't see it over the line, surely you want to try and make it happen all over again. And as you've said, Shebahn, they were pretty close in 2007 when Liverpool had a much better team, by the way, in 2007. But it did feel in that 2007 final as if Milan were, rather than playing Liverpool, playing their demons from 2005. It's impossible not to think that. But then you look at this Milan side, and really this is like a pivotal point of where the balance in European football changes. Because, as you said at the start, Liverpool come into this game as the second favourites. This Milan team picks itself. You know who each player is, what they do. And then they really struggle to move on from there. There are some changes. And then, of course, before the 2007 final, you have Calciopoli in 2006, the match-fixing scandal, which sets back Italian football and its world reputation immeasurably. Mm-hmm. It means a talent drain. It means a lack of prestige. It means less money. The Premier League is continuing to roar at this point and continues to go up and up and up as it still is today. And at this point, it's funny. When Manchester United win the Champions League in 1999, I think the pivotal point is where they beat, not the best Juventus actually, but they beat Juventus in the semi-final. Because you're thinking, Premier League teams can really beat Serie A teams in this competition, and that really changes things. But actually, Milan start picking it up again straight away, don't they? They win it in 2003, they get in this position where they could win it in 2005. But there's this change in 2006 in terms of prestige, in terms of money, in terms of the way that players as well as fans see the league. And it makes it amazing that Milan go on and win it in 2007, but it does mean it's kind of a red herring, just really delaying the point where English clubs, including Liverpool, Manchester United, Chelsea, really start to dominate the Champions League.
Still, though, when they go on to win it, it's with Ancelotti. He's there through that heartbreak then to winning it.
Yeah, yeah. But I think Andy's dead right about the whole feeling around English football. In this country, there's still this sort of arrogance of it's always been that good. It's not. It's not always been that good. We talk about the Wenger eras and the Ferguson eras and then obviously these Liverpool sides. And as he says, the 99 final, this final, and then the belief that English clubs can then go and win these biggest competitions, even from 3-0 down. They can go and do it. And then all of a sudden, across Europe, it becomes, never mind the England national team, these English clubs are serious again. These are the giants of the 80s who have come back to really, really go for it. And then now from there, that Premier League pool of talent picks up, all from a couple of Steven Gerrard moments.
Yeah, outstanding. Do you feel that this was the game, this could have been the moment that kind of pushed things on for Premier League teams to be feared more?
It feels like that, doesn't it? And I guess it's because, I guess it's a little bit like England under Gareth Southgate. You can be good enough to win competitions, but until you've actually done it and won it in the final, it does not count. That is the issue. So I feel that Premier League domination of the Champions League and of world football would have come anyway. And like I said, I think Calciopoli is a factor in that for sure. And, you know, I think at the end of the decade, Real Madrid and Barcelona, and especially Barcelona under Guardiola, do their best to disrupt that. But they're kind of outliers, really, in the way that the Premier League can dominate the world. But I do think the psychological sense of, yes, we can get to a final and win it, whatever the situation. And even if this isn't the greatest Liverpool team that ever was, is hugely important.
Yeah. And how it affected Liverpool as well as a club, Dean, their 5th Champions League final.
Yeah, and the time that they went previous to that to wait for that moment as well, and you know, and Gerrard and Carragher especially talked about the feeling in the stadium when they came back out for the second half, that, you know, that extra 1% even that a crowd can give you is vital, and then as a club they then go on to believe literally that anything is possible after that. And, you know, and they've shown, you know, that a match like that can turn on its head. You know, all right, we had the UEFA Cup runs before that, and, you know, some incredible matches before that, but nothing compares to this.
But it is funny, isn't it, how at the end of this, Rafa Benitez does a really classy thing, actually, and he invites Gerard Houllier into the changing room, and he says, look, this is as much your achievement, your moment. You know, I'm standing on the shoulder of giants here. And I think that's a really nice touch because, as you say, Houllier had a better team for a lot of the time, certainly a better team than this.
And took it through the transition that it needed to go through, yeah.
Exactly. And, you know, he got the domestic cups, the UEFA Cup when you go back to 2001, but didn't quite get there. So it was nice to see his role in Liverpool recognised as well. But I don't know. I think the thing about this game more than anything is the fact that it's part of not just English, but European football folklore now. I mean, you think when Liverpool, funnily enough, when Liverpool didn't quite win the league in 2014 and they shelled that 3-0 lead at Crystal Palace, they called it Cristanbul. When you look at during the COVID period when West Ham came back from 3-0 down and Lanzini scored that rocket from way out, that was Spurs-Istanbul. And it's just bizarre that it's such a pivotal game in our football cultural consciousness that it's just become shorthand for doing the impossible.
Oh, yeah, because the first half was so ridiculously bad for Liverpool in terms of the scoreline. Do you think, Dean, that breaking it down, going through the what ifs, buts, babies, the substitutions, the analysis, that actually maybe this was just written in the stars for Liverpool to win?
I do. I think it's one of those, yeah, as Andy said, the folklore tale that it becomes. But it was preventable. It definitely was preventable when you go through the analysis from a Milan point of view and from an Ancelotti point of view, and also, you know, there were risks taken by Liverpool that could have resulted in it being 4 or 5-0 the other way. But if you don't take that risk, you don't get that reward. Yeah. And, you know, and you've got to roll the dice when you're 3-0 down in a European final, and they did, and everything went right from that moment on. Apart from Reece's miss, but, you know, everything that could have gone right did. And, you know, it's a how do you say the if, buts and maybes in the second half when it's just an absolute joy to watch from home, and, you know, millions of people losing it over a game on the TV, and you think that Ancelotti in that moment has to have a clear enough head, or someone on his bench has to have a clear enough head to change it. But momentum in football, we talk about it all the time, and boy, did Liverpool need that half-time whistle to halt that Milan momentum, and then Milan couldn't halt that Liverpool momentum.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I do, and I think the momentum is absolutely huge. But I think also when you look at it here, this is something that was it was just unstoppable. It's easy to look at it from a distance and say Ancelotti should have changed it, and I think that's right. But like I said before, the bit in the second half where the Milan players are knocked sideways, but the Liverpool players are knocked sideways as well. It's just so incredibly unprecedented. But I think Liverpool in this game, And Ancelotti, when you go on past this game and look at everything that he's achieved ever since, it shows you about how the very best in football can take these absolute body blows and go, you know what, tomorrow's a new morning. And I'll get on with it, and I'll change it, and I'll do it differently. And I think you look at the coach that Ancelotti has become, he's so different to, like I said before, to most other top-level coaches in that he doesn't just keep going back to the well with the same bucket all the time. He doesn't say, well, this has worked for me before, so I'm going to do it again. He looks in himself with an incredible humility and says, right, I've suffered this massive setback. How am I going to do it differently next time? And he does that when it goes wrong for him at Bayern Munich, when it goes wrong for him at Napoli, and it ends up with him winning like the 15th European Cup for Real Madrid, because even at his age, he doesn't think, I know it all. He thinks, I'm a human, I make mistakes. You know what? We're going to change it next time.
And that's amazing. I mean, it's that cheesy old saying, you don't lose, you learn. And Ancelotti just completely embodies that, doesn't he? Just finally, was this game won because of Liverpool's brilliance or Milan's mistakes?
Oof, that's a difficult question to answer. The combination of those two things resulted in the best watch that you could ever imagine on a football field. So
cares?
To that end, yeah, absolutely. But look, I think you cannot take the credit away from Liverpool, because at that point you could just say, just don't lose 6-0, lads. But as a club, as a team, you know, as a group of players, and they decided that wasn't going to be their destiny. And so I'm saying brilliance for Liverpool trumps anything else that happened.
I would agree with that. And I also think, and it's impossible not to think when it's in a European Cup, Champions League context, sometimes just the sense of the shirt you're wearing.
Yeah.
You know, the sense that it is like a cape, that it is like something that gives you a little bit of extra power, that I am a Liverpool player, that I am a Liverpool player playing in the Champions League final. And for a lot of those players, I'm never going to get the chance to do it again. Let's grasp this opportunity.